Well, Texans who had their identity stolen through fake unemployment claims are finding it hard to clear their names. The Texas Workforce Commission says the number of fake claims has tripled since the pandemic began. Fox 4's Lori Brown joins us live now with more on that. Lori.
Natalie, many victims of unemployment fraud are worried about being held responsible for the taxes on the money paid out in their name, since TWC is backlogged and hasn't sent out a lot of 1099-G forms.
Sleepless nights over it. It's been a 5-month process and I'm still not done.
James Darst, a defense contractor in Terrell, first discovered he was the victim of identity theft from his employer, but the damage was already done.
The 1st of November, my HR department contacted me saying they had received a letter stating that I was asking for unemployment benefits. And because of COVID, they weren't always coming into the office.
By the time his employer was aware of it, the deadline to dispute the claim had passed and the money was in the wrong hands.
And between Thanksgiving and New Year's, I called and left a message on every number I could find on TWC's website every single day.
Eventually, Darst did get through to a person who told him it was resolved. But just last Saturday, he received another repayment notice.
And I'm really worried that they're going to go after my credit.
And on top of that, Darst has received a 1099-G from the IRS stating that he received $1,000 in unemployment that he never did.
I don't have any piece of paper saying that I don't owe taxes on that.
Ed Cerna addressed the issue of rampant fraud before the Texas Senate Finance Committee last week.
The best thing that they can do is notify us. There's several ways to notify us. There's a separate 800 number, not the 800 number with a gazillion people trying to get it for claims.
But it turns out there are another gazillion people trying to report fraud.
We would love to respond individually with each person and tell them exactly where their status is, but that process is a little bit harder to do with this vast flow of cases that's coming in. So we're retooling our system to allow for more reach back to let people know, yes, we're looking into these cases.
James Burnson, a spokesman with TWC, says in 2019, there were a little more than 1,000 suspicious claims. After the pandemic, that number has surged to around 300,000.
Right now, if someone gets an overpayment notice, whether it's a legitimate overpayment or fraud, either way, there is not a hard deadline to pay this back.
But Burnson knows that won't make people feel much better, especially when filing their taxes.
It will be heartburn for a lot of people because identity theft is a crime, and a crime has victims.
If you did get a 1099-G showing that you received unemployment money that you did not receive, you should immediately request a corrected form from TWC. If you do not receive that corrected form in time for tax time, the IRS says that you should still only report income that you received.